Borneo. Isolated from the rest of Asia, it's an evolutionary hothouse with the world's tallest forests and the greatest number of flying mutants. A place where plants and animals have evolved bizarre partnerships. And the strangest ape on Earth finds refuge. To survive on this mysterious island, some animals are driven to taking death-defying leaps and suicidal river crossings. Because this is no island paradise. Borneo, a surprising world teeming with scientific curiosities. Borneo, the third largest island in the world. Forests here have thrived almost untouched for 130 million years. A mysterious and ancient cauldron for evolution. Home to this evolutionary melting pot are the tallest rainforest trees in the world, towering up to 60 meters. These giant trees have driven some animals to evolve into acrobatic gliders. The Draco lizard has a hidden superpower. It likes to feed on tree ants. When food runs out, the Draco transforms. Wings emerge out of its ribs and skin. And he glides to another tree for the next meal. This flying dragon is not the only aerial acrobat in the forest. The largest glider in these trees is a bizarre creature called a colugo. Its membrane is so large, it can glide as far as 145 meters through the canopy. Further than any other creature on Earth. The forests of Borneo and Sumatra are home to more gliders than anywhere else in the world, over 30 species. Even a snake has evolved to glide. It first expands its ribs, flattening its body like a wing to ready itself for launch. Once in the air, it twists itself into an aerodynamic shape to gain extra lift. But why do so many animals glide in these forests compared to others? The key to the evolutionary mystery is the giant dipterocarp tree with its high canopy. Compared to other crowded rainforests, the space between the giant dipterocarps in Borneo is largely free of branches and other vegetation which would restrict gliding. To take advantage, many animals evolved makeshift wings to glide across the clear spaces between trees. So what forces produced Borneo's unique mix of creatures and plants? The key to this are the mysterious movements of the Earth's tectonic plates. The islands have been uniquely situated close to the equator for about 130 million years, despite tectonic upheavals moving other land masses. Being so close to the equator, the forest here survived, even during the ice ages. And over that immense period of time, creatures could evolve in a stable environment. In Borneo's rainforests, many animals adapted to life in the trees to avoid predators on the ground. The binturong, sometimes called the bear cat, is actually not related to either. Strangely, it's related to mongooses, which are not adapted to tree life at all. It has a prehensile tail, which acts like a fifth limb, grasping branches like a hand, allowing it to reach further for its favorite fruit. This kind of tail is rare in Asian animals, evolving in the binturong specifically for life in the forest canopy. The canopy is a perfect habitat for primates, even for an ape without a tail. The gibbon can move through the trees with incredible speed, at times over 56 kilometers an hour, thanks to its specialized arm-swinging locomotion. Known as a lesser ape, it's a smaller cousin of Asia's only great ape. The orangutan, the largest arboreal ape in the world. The orangutan only lives on the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. The largest tree dweller in the world, males can weigh almost 90 kilograms, as much as an adult man. Specially adapted to life in the forest, the orangutan finds all the food it needs in the trees. In its search for the choicest fruit and leaves, it uses its body weight to sway from tree to tree. Its arms are twice as long as its legs, allowing the ape to reach the next branch with ease. Its hind legs can spread incredibly wide to grab branches, as it lacks tendons that connect pelvis and thigh bone. That's why it's hard for the orangutan to support its body weight with its two legs. Orangutans are perfectly evolved to live their entire lives in trees. That includes going to sleep. Every evening, they pick a different tree, weave branches to make a new nest up to 1 meter in diameter, and settle down for the night, unworried by prospects of falling to their death on the ground below. As night falls, a predator emerges. The rare clouded leopard, a member of the big cat family, a carnivore adapted to hunt in the trees. She poses the greatest threat to other tree-dwelling mammals. Borneo, a magical island kingdom, thousands of years of mutation, producing animals with weirdly exaggerated features. This armored giant is a member of the rhinoceros beetle family, unmatched for size and battle readiness in the world of beetles. The Borneo species is one of the largest insects on Earth. Males can grow up to 10 centimeters. Relative to their size, rhinoceros beetles are the strongest creatures on the planet. They can support 850 times their own body weight. That's the equivalent of a human lifting a truck. Males have specialized horns on their heads, which they deploy to fight other males over mates. To win, the dominant male will pick up his opponent and try to throw him off the branch. The beetle's giant horns have obvious strategic value. But in the case of Borneo's proboscis monkey, its phenomenal nose is something of a mystery. The proboscis monkey boasts a nose larger than any other primates. In mature males, it can reach over 17 centimeters. It's so long, it hangs down below its mouth. The purpose of this facial marvel is uncertain, but may signal rank and play a role in attracting females. Proboscis monkeys have to travel far to find their favorite leaves. They're too big and heavy to try gliding. Instead, they make death-defying leaps. The trick is to grab the branches on the opposite side to break their fall. When the distance is too great to jump, they are not afraid to take the plunge into rivers if necessary. They can swim surprisingly well, having evolved partially webbed feet for the task. A mother will even leap into the river with her offspring holding on for dear life. But dangers lurk in the form of crocodiles. As the troop crosses the river, the dominant male shrieks a warning. The pitch of the alarm call resonating through his impressive nose can't be heard by the waiting crocodiles due to its high frequency. Sometimes they misjudge their leap. This proboscis monkey isn't so lucky. The proboscis monkey is unique to the island of Borneo. But many mammals here can be found on mainland Asia. So how did these animals cross a 600-kilometer sea barrier? During the Ice Ages, the islands of Borneo and Sumatra were connected to the Asian continent by land bridges. The sea levels were lower, with water locked up in great ice sheets. temporary land bridges allowed many animals, including the orangutan, the elephant, the rhinoceros, and the tiger, to cross over and make the islands their home. When sea levels rose again at the end of the last ice age, the bridges disappeared, isolating Borneo from the rest of Asia. Borneo has a bizarre evolutionary mystery lurking in its forests. It's the land of the pygmy animals. This is the smallest rhinoceros in the world, Borneo's rare Sumatran rhinoceros. The African white rhino can weigh 3 times as much. It's an example of what is known as island dwarfism. In this evolutionary process, large animals in confined environments, especially islands, shrink down in size over many generations. One advantage of downsizing is that smaller animals need fewer resources to survive and reproduce. In the forest, this pygmy rhino feeds on leaves and fruits. The rhino lives a solitary life, marking its territory by urinating. It likes to wallow in the muddy pools. This helps remove the blight of parasites and protects against biting horseflies. Unusually, the pygmy rhino is the only one to have a hairy body, reminiscent of a creature long extinct. The pygmy rhino is, in effect, a living fossil. It's the closest relative of an Ice Age icon, the woolly rhinoceros, which lived on the frozen wastes of the Tibetan Plateau and died out only 10,000 years ago at the end of the last Ice Age. There are only about 20 of the pygmy rhinos left on Borneo. Across the region, it's estimated only 275 still exist, making it one of the most threatened mammals on the planet. Borneo is also home to the world's smallest bear, the sun bear. Related to the Malayan sun bear, this is a true miniature bear. It weighs only 60 kilograms, about the same as a large dog. It has a covering of short hair adapted to the hot tropical environment. The sun bear eats fruits, honey, and even termites and ants. It's also evolved to be a nimble tree climber. With little nutritious food to eat on the ground, sun bears turn to trees to supplement their diet. Small and agile, the bears can easily climb up slender trees using their sharp claws. "20 meters up in the canopy, the bear smells something delicious, and with its tough claws, it tears away the bark. It's found some honey. With its 25-centimeter long tongue, it licks it up. Hunger satisfied, these small bears simply curl up and sleep in the tree. Borneo's rainforest and rivers might seem like an ideal habitat, but for the world's largest land mammal, they were a major challenge. To survive here, the elephants had to downsize and become smaller than their Asian and African cousins. Recent genetic analysis shows that the Borneo species separated from the Asian elephant around 18,000 years ago. Just a blink of an eye in evolutionary terms. Borneo's pygmy elephants have to forage widely in the forest to find their favorite plants. Sometimes access to their next meal is blocked by a seemingly impassable barrier. The Kinabatangan River runs through the northern part of Borneo Island. Here, Borneo elephants enjoy eating succulent grasses along the riverside. This tiny baby is just 1 month old. It is growing up surrounded mostly by females. The female leader or matriarch of the herd decides on where to forage for food. She's decided that it's time to try a new pasture on the other side of the river. But that's 100 meters away. She takes the plunge. And the others have to follow her. The banks are steep and slippery, so this is no easy mission. The baby has no choice but to follow its mother into the deep and muddy river. Together, they begin to swim through the treacherous waters. The river is more than 10 meters deep, too deep for them to touch the bottom. To breathe, the elephants must keep their trunks high up in the air. Elephants rarely cross deep rivers. But Borneo elephants may have adopted this risky strategy to reach scattered food resources on their island home. With its body half sinking, the baby desperately tries to breathe, stretching its tiny trunk as far out of the water as possible, like a snorkel. Mothers and sisters gather around the baby, propping it up in the water. Somehow the group reaches the other bank, but the baby is not safe yet. Getting up the slope will be a tough hurdle for the youngster. The young elephant is at risk of being trampled on by the adults as well. After a couple of attempts, its big sister gives the baby a push up the bank. The baby is safely back with the herd again. Life on the mysterious island of Borneo will present many more dangers and challenges for this young elephant. Three of the largest islands in the region are home to miniature versions of iconic mainland animals. But Asia's only great ape, the orangutan, has kept its large body mass since migrating from mainland Asia. The dominant male is conspicuously large, twice the size and weight of females, and with distinctive cheek flaps called flanges. Remarkably, only the dominant male will grow them. The flanges of submissive males won't develop with him around. The large flanged male lives alone. All of a sudden, he bursts into loud roaring. This vocalization is called the long call and is unique to the dominant male. It can be heard several kilometers away and announces his intentions to both weaker males and females on heat. How did the orangutan become the largest arboreal ape in the first place? And why didn't it shrink like the other mammals on this strange island? There used to be at least 5 great apes in Asia. The orangutan is the only one to still survive today. It's thought that the very first ancestor of all great apes appeared on the African continent about 20 million years ago and migrated to Asia through forests that stretched between the continents 16.5 million years ago. Scientists believe that the bodies of great ape ancestors initially grew bigger than other primates, like monkeys, so they could exploit the abundance of food in the forests. Ape brains had to have greater cognitive ability to identify a range of fruits and when and where they grew. A bigger brain and a larger, stronger body conferred other advantages too, enabling these ancestral apes to break open tougher fruits and scare off predators. Fossils reveal that one now extinct ape, Civa, is thought to be the orangutan's ancestor. It was similar in size to the orangutan and lived in the rainforest like they do, with a diet mainly of fruit. When on the ground, it was vulnerable to predators, including an ancient saber-toothed carnivore. Then its habitat underwent dramatic changes. Global cooling kicked in. Forests started to shrink, and fruit became less available. Asian great ape numbers decreased. The Civipithecus became extinct. Today, the orangutan is the only surviving Asian great ape, but it's only found on the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. So how come it disappeared from the tropical forests of the mainland? Intriguing evidence has turned up in the Nia caves on the island of Borneo. About 60 years ago, anthropologists unearthed remains of an early human settlement here, about 40,000 years old. Dr. Lee of the Sarawak Museum reveals some surprising evidence.
We have found a lot of evidence to show that early men in Borneo live in this cave. They eat a lot of wild pig, monkeys, and other animals, including the orangutan. Yeah, examples here you have the orangutan found at the 60 to 72 inches depth. This is the bone of the finger of this orangutan. It's found in India in 1957.
The bones here indicate strongly that humans ate orangutans. So if orangutans were hunted by prehistoric humans, that, together with climate change, could have contributed to them dying out on mainland Asia. But somehow, they survive today in the forests of Sumatra and Borneo. Even so, Borneo is no island paradise. The lush-looking tropical forests grow on soil which is surprisingly nutrient-poor compared to mainland Asia. This lack of nutrients in the soil has an enormous impact on the available food sources in the forests, especially fruit. Dr. Noko Kuze of the National Museum of Nature and Science in Tokyo has been studying Borneo's orangutans for more than a decade.
Study indicates that the fruit productivity of Borneo is only 10% of Africa's tropical rainforest. The reason of low fruit productivity comes from here. Soil. In Borneo, under litter, this soil has low nutrition, so trees could not produce fruits every year.
So the trees may be giants, but the cost of the poor soil is they can't bear fruit every year. That may seem strange in such a rich and fertile-looking forest, but there is a reason. The large amount of rainfall combined with high temperatures leaches and washes away essential nutrients in the soil. Other islands in the region fare better. They have active volcanoes replenishing minerals in the soil, while Borneo has just one volcano, and that's extinct. Borneo's poor soil has forced some plants to extremes. To survive, one group has evolved an ingenious and somewhat macabre way to feed itself. These are carnivorous pitcher plants. These shrubs supplement their nutrient intake by consuming insects and small creatures. They attract insects into their pitcher-shaped leaves known as pitfall traps. Their deep cavities are filled with a lethal liquid that dissolves insects lured in by sweet nectar. From this brew, the plants get their nutrients. However, botanists have recently discovered a plant with even more unusual tastes. The world's largest pitcher plants grow on Borneo's tallest mountain, Mount Kinabalu, about 2,000 meters up on the hillside. The Nepenthes Raja is big enough to hold almost 4 liters of liquid. Its insect trap can measure 40 centimeters wide. But only those over 50 years old will have an insect trap as big as this. This giant pitcher attracts creatures much larger than insects. A tree shrew. The tree shrew starts to lick the inside of the pitcher lid. Closer look reveals something oozing out from the lid's surface. Exquisite nectar. The pitcher isn't planning to trap the shrew like an insect. it has evolved an even more ingenious adaptation to get its essential nutrients. As the tree shrew licks the nectar, it conveniently urinates into the pitcher. The pitcher has evolved into a shrew toilet. Astonishingly, the mammal's feces and urine make up for the lack of nutrients in the soil in which the plant grows. Together, these animals and plants have evolved an unlikely alliance to overcome the problems with the island soil. Borneo's poor soil has impacted on many creatures in the forest, especially the orangutan, which has to contend with erratic fruiting seasons. During August, the orangutans in northern Borneo can spend up to 100% of their time feeding on fruit. In October, this reduces to just over 10%. Some studies show that during low fruit availability, calorie intake reduces by up to 3/4. To survive on this unpredictable diet, the orangutan has evolved a completely different social structure to other great apes. It lives almost exclusively on its own, so it can avoid direct competition for available fruits. It's also evolved the ability to store large amounts of body fat to help it through unproductive times. Solitary living and fat storage may have helped the early orangutan survive the shrinking forests driven by climate change. Food scarcity has also forced the orangutan to become an energy-saving specialist. It usually moves as little as 450 meters in a day. Only the sloth uses less energy. Orangutans don't normally come down from the trees. That would consume too much valuable energy. On this surprisingly nutrient-poor island, energy-saving strategies are critical for survival. There is one reason why orangutans will venture down to the ground. They can't get all the minerals they need from fruits and leaves. So occasionally, they seek out a natural spring whose waters are rich in minerals. After drinking the water, this male hangs on here. But what for? He's hoping for a blind date. In this vast and lonely forest, it isn't easy finding a mate. But he knows that several times a month, a female will come here. But sadly, not today. Borneo's forests are a challenging and unpredictable source of food for its inhabitants. But there is one fruit they can always depend on being available, somewhere: the fig. The fig tree has co-evolved with a tiny insect, without whom the entire ecosystem would collapse. Fig wasps live only a few days. Just the size of a pinhead, they are the only insects that can pollinate fig trees. At first sight, the fig doesn't seem to have any flowers. But strangely, the flowers are hidden inside the fig, in a special structure called the syconium. To get to the flowers, the fig wasp has to gain access to the syconium. But the entrance works like a lock that only allows a particular species of wasp with a right-shaped head to enter. The wasp still has to force itself through the tiny gap. The pressure squeezes liquid out of its body and tears its wings off in the process. wingless female wasp appears inside the fig and crawls over the tiny flowers on which she lays her eggs. In the process, pollen is transferred from the female and pollinates the flower. Once the fig wasp young mature, they mate inside the fig. The wingless males bore their way out, with the winged females close behind. The two species are mutually dependent. The wasp is the sole pollinator of the fig flower, and fig wasps can only breed inside the fig fruit. There are almost 130 species of fig trees in Borneo, each with its unique species of fig wasp that pollinates it. Somewhere there will always be a fig tree bearing fruit. The evolutionary relationship between figs and fig wasps is thought to have originated about 90 million years ago. A beautiful relationship that supports the entire chain of life in Borneo's vast and amazing forest. Figs attract many other larger creatures from around the forest. The first guest at the feast is the hornbill, a bizarre bird with a 1-meter wingspan. Hearing the hornbill's calls, an acrobatic young gibbon arrives. Then the binturong, which loves to feast on figs. Competition for fig fruit sometimes brings the binturong into conflict with Borneo's largest tree dweller. One reason orangutans have developed an almost exclusive arboreal life is because of the threat from predators like the tiger, which existed when the ape evolved on mainland Asia. Although there are no tigers left on Borneo, there is a big cat that does live here. The clouded leopard. Named the tree tiger by locals, this stealthy nocturnal hunter poses a deadly threat to primates and other tree mammals because of its tremendous bite. The clouded leopard's skull resembles primitive saber-toothed cats, large upper fangs, and an enormous 90-degree gape. A puma's gape is only 65 degrees. But the clouded leopard isn't related to the extinct saber-tooths. This is convergent evolution, where a useful trait evolves in unrelated animals. A large adult orangutan can defend itself against this cat, but its offspring can't. The clouded leopard is one of the reasons that the highly evolved orangutan has developed the longest parenting time out of all the great apes. This buys time for its young to grow big enough to protect themselves from these lethal cats.
The liaison of infant mortality in orangutans is very low, about 70% in the wild. The value is very low compared with other mammals.
There is another significant advantage to this intensive parenting relationship. Over 7 long years, the mother can teach its young how to survive in the nutrient-poor forest. Young orangutans have to learn where to find food, and what to eat from hundreds of plant species. They are totally dependent on their mothers for survival skills, since orangutans don't live in family groups. When high-calorie fruits are unavailable, they have to rely on leaves and even bark for their nutrition. Having to depend on these food sources for much of the year makes life in Borneo a challenge, even for an intelligent ape. But every few years, there's a delicious reward for the orangutan, a large, nutritious fruit called a durian. Durian trees only fruit every few years. The fruits are large and covered in a hard shell, making them inaccessible to many smaller animals. But not to this large, powerful ape, many times stronger than a man. Now at last, the durian are ripe. A mother and her young break open these prized fruit. The calorie-rich flesh allows the apes to store up energy and nutrients to carry them through the barren times. The islands of Borneo and Sumatra together form one of the most remarkably biodiverse regions on Earth. These isolated habitats have thrived almost untouched for over 100 million years, harboring a diverse group of creatures that have evolved along with the forests, dominated by the giant dipterocarp tree. At the heart of this extraordinary ecosystem live the strangest giant ape on Earth, one of the rarest cats, and pygmy versions of the rhino and elephant, all shaped by one force: evolution, the life force of our planet.